NEWS.MC on Monaco Info is brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties. Our exclusive interview with the personalities making the Principality.
My name is Paul Smith from Touchstone Education. I was brought up and did my primary school in the north of the UK, in Yorkshire. In English, we would say it's a pit village, which means a mining village, a coal mining village. So my background is very modest. Both my parents were teachers. When I was born, I'm the oldest. I was born in 1964. And my mother stopped working. So four children, oldest, one salary. And so my father, in order to feed the family and give us the nice things, refurbished houses, bought a house, did it up, sold it. I haven't grown 1 millimetre since the age of 11. Why is that important? It's important because I started helping my father to refurbish houses when I was 7 years old. Because at 7, I was already bigger than my mum, and I'm 1 metre 83 now, and I got to 1 metre 83 by the age of 11. I got into property and property refurbishment really early. If you cut me, not blood comes out, property comes out, real estate comes out. So that was my early years. There was no family business. I created the family business. At the age of about 11, my dad got a different job. We moved to very close to London. So we moved from the north of England to close to London and carried on refurbishing houses. I left home at the age of 17. I got a job straight away, but I also went to university. I did a sponsored degree for 4 years. So my first degree is mechanical engineering, and I got the Ford Motor Company to sponsor me. I had a place at Oxford to go and read physics with philosophy, but I decided I didn't want to do it. And I thought my dad was going to kill me, because he went to Oxford, I had a place at Oxford, I said, I'm not going. But he was beautiful. He said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want to make things. I want to be an engineer. Because I applied late because of Oxford, there was one place left at this particular university in London. There were 300 applicants, and I managed to get that one place out of 300, because the best way to get me to do something is to tell me it's not possible. If you tell me it's not possible, I'll do it. If you tell me it's easy, I'm not interested. So yes, I got an engineering degree, 4 years with Ford's, and the way that worked was 6 months in university, 2 terms in college, and 6 months in a factory. So from the age of 17, I worked in a factory. The first day I turned up, so this was the engine plant. So my first job was making engines or engine components. And the first day I turned up, my boss, the superintendent, said, oh, you're my new foreman. I'm like, no, I'm a trainee foreman. He said, no, you're my new foreman. He said, I should have 8 foremen. I've actually got 3. So you're number 4, so you can run 2 production lines each. I said, I'm 17. He said, I don't care. You are making con rods and camshafts. And I said, con what and cam what? I didn't know what they were. And from the age of 17, I had 60 men, and I had 2 production lines, and I was making thousands of components a day. And before I went out of that office that day, I said to the superintendent, you're supposed to have 8 foremen. He said, oh, this one had a heart attack, this one had a stroke, this one had his arm ripped off in a machine. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what have I let myself in for? So I thought, if I survive the first year, so yeah, that was my early years, university, engineering, and yeah, all good. As well as being a student, which was maybe 40 hours a week, I had a second job, I had a third job, and I was earning money, and I was determined before the age of 18 to buy my own property. So I was working about 120 hours a week, making not a lot of money, but I was making more than I needed to exist. Plus I had some sponsorship from Ford's. Ford's gave me £1,000 a term. Back then, £1,000 was quite a lot of money. So if I put it into today's terms, that's probably, I don't know, 5,000 euros. It was quite a lot of money. Not a fortune, but quite a lot of money. Before my 18th birthday, I bought a flat, an apartment in London for £9,000. Terrible condition, the cheapest flat in London, probably. And I then spent the next 18 months doing what I used to do with my father. I spent less than £1,000, and 18 months later, I sold that property for £33,500. So invested 10, 33,500 back, and I was off. And in the UK, it's not the same everywhere, but in the UK, if you live in a house and you refurbish it and you sell it, no tax. So from the age of 17 to, can't remember exactly, 37, 38, I always had a job, I had a salary, but in the background, I was doing property investment as well. And I think that's another really important lesson that my father taught me. Somebody with a poor mindset, I don't mean no money, I mean a bad mindset, asks all questions. Shall I do this or shall I do that? An entrepreneur with a wealthy mindset asks, how can I do this and that? So a really good lesson that I learned very early was, how can I do more than one thing at a time? I believed that I wanted both. I wanted property and employment. And something I always teach my students is that if you want to become a property investor, if you want to become a property entrepreneur, you shouldn't leave your full-time job until your property income is a minimum of 3 times your day job. For anyone out there that's thinking, I'd like to be a property entrepreneur and I hate my boss and I hate my job and I hate commuting, I know, so did I. But I did both until I reached a critical mass. It was hard work, but I'm glad I did it. Touchstone Education, the way in which many people interact. So you can find me on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, or on the website, Touchstone Education. I want to allow everybody to get to know me a little bit, to get to know the company a little bit, because if you compare it to a human relationship, you don't go on a blind date and get married. So for me, the first stage is, let's see if we speak the same language, let's see if we have the same values. And if some of what I'm saying resonates, read one of my books. I think money is like oxygen. I've just said oxygen. Now, until I said oxygen, you weren't thinking about, is there enough oxygen in this room to breathe? But if you were trapped underground in a small cave with 5 other people and the air was running out and you were gasping for breath and you were desperate for oxygen, oxygen will be the only thing that you're thinking about. The reason that Monaco is like Monaco is because the money problem has been solved. And if you've got money in the same quantity, abundance as oxygen, you don't even think about it. My job is to help people that have got a money problem. The money problem is really easy to fix. Once you've fixed the money problem, and once you don't even have to think about money anymore, now you can decide how you want to live your life. What's the biggest killer in the world? I think the biggest killer in the world is stress. What's the biggest cause of stress? Money, or lack of money. What's the biggest cause of relationship breakup? Money, or lack of money. So does money buy you happiness? No. But it enables you to live a life that makes you happy. So money for me is an enabler. Wealth for me is not being rich. Rich is where you exchange your time for money. You sell your life for money. That's called working. Wealth is where you own assets that give you money in exchange for none of your time. So if you've decided, I want to be wealthy, then the first stage is to come along and spend 2 days with us online, so you can do it from anywhere in the world. We've got students in more than 150 different countries around the world, every continent, every country virtually. Come and spend 2 days with us online. We have a program called Wealth Through Property, and there is some investment, it's £99, and from there decide if you want to work with us. So we have some programs that are very intensive and require significant investment, or you can have a free book. There are individual courses. You could go and buy an individual course on how to raise money, or mindset, or something like that, or commercial property in the UK, or how to invest in gold. So there are individual courses, but if you decided, no, I'm fed up, I want to change my life, I want to do it in 1 year, then the top program that we have is called Wealth Through Property, or Wealth Through Business. It's a 12-month intensive program. 6 hours of coaching a week, 1 hour a day for 6 days a week. You can have Sunday off, online. So again, from anywhere in the world. And if you can't make the session, it's all recorded. And so you've got courses, interactive courses that are on demand, recorded. You've got live coaching for 6 hours a week. And the investment for that is $15,000. Because I feel so strongly that free advice is worth every penny, I've got quite a few staff, I've got offices. I'm not running a charity, I'm running a business. I think it's incredible value. But the guarantee that we make is, in that first year, if you don't make at least £30,000 extra, we'll just give you your money back. So you invest 15, but if you don't make at least 30, money back. For the years between 37 and roughly 50 years old, We were very focused on building businesses. We bought businesses, we sold businesses. We had a digital marketing business. We built websites. We did search engine optimization. We sold that for very good money to an American company. Because I'm an engineer and because I'd come from the whiskey industry, I bought a big factory unit. I put some whiskey bottling lines in it. I got contracts from various people and I sold that. I worked with the Scottish government on that. And then probably by about 2010, so maybe 15 years ago, we got to the point where we'd built these businesses, we'd sold these businesses, and our life was a bit quieter. And we got to a point in our lives where we had quite a lot of money coming in, passively, not doing anything, because if you've got the right property, it just gives you money and you don't do anything. Commercial property is even better than residential property for that, and we do both. So there's probably a 4-year period where we were having lovely holidays, we were spending all the time with the children. And so between 2010 and 2014, we started helping friends and family, just one-to-one or a few people, just telling them what we'd done. But when I was 50, I just thought, why am I teaching all these people one-to-one for nothing? Because I don't know if the expression is similar in other languages, but in English we say free advice is worth every penny. In other words, it's not worth anything. And if you're giving somebody something for free, they don't value it. And these were the kind of principles that I started teaching to other people. And it went much wider than property. And by then, for years, we'd been investing in stocks and shares, we'd been investing in gold, many different asset classes, as well as property. Because I believe that property is a fantastic way to create wealth, but it's not safe to keep all of your assets in one asset class in one country. So these were the kind of lessons that I was teaching people. Again, conversation with my wife, because it's funny, some people say your wife is your best friend, you work with her, you spend 24 hours a day with her. If I did that with my wife, we'd kill each other. I get that quite a lot. I don't understand that. I can't think of anyone I'd rather spend time with than my wife. Nothing makes me happier than making her happier. So again, we sat down, I think it was 2014, might have been 2013, and we said, why don't we set up a company to train other people to do what we do, but do it in a big way? I'm very outgoing, I'll talk to anyone, I don't get embarrassed. She does. So she's very quiet, she's very shy, she's very beautiful. She will talk to you, but she needs to know you first. She's not a presenter. She's not a public person. And so we decided in 2014 we're going to set up a company and we are going to train other people. My personal mission that I'm on now is to create 1 million millionaires. Anyone can be a millionaire. Can be. Doesn't mean they will be. So I am going to create 1 million millionaires, and I can't do that one-to-one, which is why I do it on the internet, which is why I've got a company, which is, that's why I do what I do. People say, why did you move to Monaco? Did you move to Monaco for tax purposes? No. If I wanted to save tax, I'd move to Antigua, where there's no tax of any kind, or I'd move to Dubai or somewhere else. No, you don't come to Monaco to save tax. You come to Monaco, for me, for 3 reasons. And I call it the 3 C's: culture, climate, and cuisine. I've been a Formula One fan forever. The first time I came to Monaco to watch my first Formula One, I still wasn't spending a lot of money. I had money, but I was very careful with it. So I remember the first time I came, I decided I was going to get the cheapest ticket to the Formula One, and I stood on the road up to La Roche. So I watched the Formula One from Roche, looking out over the harbour, eating food from the vans up there, and from the first time I came here, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I love the expression, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. And the dream of me moving to Monaco, 25 years ago, I didn't know what you needed to do. I didn't know how to move to Monaco. I guess through Formula One, I made some fantastic friends. At the time, I was living in Scotland, and in my little village, there was only 1,800 people. I didn't know anyone with as much wealth or money. I had no one to talk to. There was no one like me. I don't care if you're a billionaire or if you work in a shop for 10 euros an hour. You're still a person. I value your time, I value your opinion, and I value the fact that you're listening to me. But most people are not like that. I'm always open to learning. My mother she's still alive, she's 83, but she says things like this, and you need to listen to my mum. Whenever you're talking to somebody, she said, you've got 1 of these and 2 of these. Use them in that ratio. Listen twice as much as you speak. If you listen, you might learn something you don't know. If you're speaking, you're saying things you do know. Most people don't understand the difference between motivation and inspiration. Motivation is where you want to get fit or go to the gym or whatever, and you need a personal trainer. I don't want to be a personal trainer that forces someone I want to show people that they can do it. I want to inspire them. And if my life means anything, I want it to show people that anybody can do this. Anybody can have the life that they want. When I was 14, I spent a year in hospital, 15 months in hospital. I had a thing called Crohn's disease. Well, I still have. So I had many stomach operations. I was brought up as a Catholic. My mum is very Catholic. And on one of these operations, I could see my brothers and sisters and my mum and dad, and the doctor said, "You need to say goodbye." And the priest came in. And he gave me the last rites. I was not expected to live. Age of 14. And that is such a valuable lesson for me. Most people think they're going to live forever. Most people don't think about the meaning of life until they're 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. They assume that they've got forever. At the age of 14, I was told I was going to die. And I didn't, obviously. But that lesson taught me that every single second is so precious. And so many people waste so much of their life. With my formula, I can help 97% of people that have decided they want to be helped. I've got a very good friend he's Indian. He's called Bhavin. Hello, Bhavin, if you're watching. Bhavin calls me a guru. And I'm okay with that, because for an Indian, a guru is just a teacher. That's all. That's all I want to be. I'm not an expert. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm just a teacher. And what Bhavin told me years ago now, he said, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. If there's any students out there, the teacher's here. If there's no students out there, there's no teachers. So I can help, my company, my formula, as you put it, can help 97% of people that want to be helped.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching NEWS.MC, your English rendezvous on Monaco Info. Discover more interviews and stories on our websites, NEWS.MC and MonacoInfo.com. This show was brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties.